Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
Hey, good morning. Wonderful to be back in the podcasting saddle.
Absolutely.
It's been a minute since we've been in.
Yeah.
Thrilled to be back at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of fun because we get to meet people all the time, all of our networking events.
Yeah.
And ran into an old buddy of mine from 2020. We just realized we met in BNI. And he owns an amazing business here in the Central Florida area, Zerorez. And I can't wait to introduce our good friend, Tanner Smith. Tanner, welcome.
Hey, welcome in.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to see you again. We kind of reconnected at a Greater Orlando builders association event a little bit ago. So thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate talking with you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, lots of exciting things. The pre-show is we should record it because it's just there's so much gold.
No,
in there.
you might as well say it. We brought him in
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago to do a podcast with him, and he was so interesting, so entertaining. We talked for about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe more, and then just wound up going to lunch, talking for another hour, and never got a podcast
Yeah.
done. So today we just kind of had to no, stop, no more pre-show, no more.
Yeah.
We're just gonna, we got to get rolling. Let's get some of this on tape.
Sounds good.
So Tanner, Zerorez, I know about it. I just think that the rest of the world needs to know more about it. Obviously, you're the local franchise owner.
That's right.
And I'd love to hear about it and kind of hear about your journey, how you got into it, and where you came from, and
Sure.
all your success stories.
The ones that I can share. Yeah, sure. So Zerorez obviously is a franchise. We specialize in carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, tile and grout cleaning. The franchise was founded, Zerorez was invented essentially back in 2001 by Gaylord Karen and John Hopkins. So they were cleaning carpets in apartments and realized that the owners they're calling them back because the carpets would get dirty super fast. So they clean it, 2 weeks later, it get dirty again. And so they trying to figure out what was going on. And they met with a chemist and they said, you're using soap and shampoo in the water, which does a great job at suspending those solids. But when that soap stays in the carpet as it dries, it's going to cause rapid resoiling, or it's going to be like a dirt magnet. And so this dirt, as the tenants walk on this carpet, the dirt just sticks to it, and they vacuum, but it just is stuck in the carpet.
Right.
And so they worked with this chemist, and they figured out, you know what, in order to avoid, the reason people use soaps and shampoos is because it increases the pH of the water, which acts really good as a cleaner. But when you remove that, you have to have something in its place to work effectively as a cleaner. And so what they discovered is if they ionize the water, if they essentially run it through an electric current with a cell and things like that, it's pretty complicated stuff, it will give you a high pH water without any sticky, soapy residue. So if you think of water, H2O, right? There's water molecules. If you take off one of the hydrogen atoms, I have a background in chemical engineering, so if I'm going too deep, then you can stop me.
Yeah. Bring it on.
So if you take off one of the hydrogen atoms, it becomes OH. And from your high school chemistry days, pH is the amount of potential hydrogen in the water. So if you take one of those, the hydrogen molecules away, you're left with OH, which increases the pH or potential hydrogen of that liquid. And so they discovered as you increase the pH, it works fantastic as a cleaner. Even nowadays, you're seeing on the shelves these alkaline water that you drink, a high pH water, as a cleansing agent for your body. I mean, it's awesome science, and so it works. And so Zerorez was established back then, and what we have now is a high pH water that we clean with, that when you put it on the carpets or on the upholstery, on the area rugs, it doesn't leave any sticky, soapy residue. And so it stays cleaner longer, It dries faster, and it just overall is a better experience for the customer.
Well, it's actually in the name, right? Zerorez, and the res is for residue, right?
Yep. Zero residue.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I actually had him clean the carpets in my house. So
Yeah.
I know it works. Well, that's cool. So talk to me a little bit about how you you kind of got into the Zerorez business.
Yeah. So like I said, I have a degree in chemical engineering, and I clean carpets.
Right.
So I went to Brigham Young University out in Utah, and just had a fantastic experience out there. Loved it. Loved every moment. As I was going through my experience there, I realized that as much as I love engineering and math and science, it took a lot of work and effort to get good grades. And so I'm like, maybe engineering's not kind of my cup of tea, but I really liked leadership. I really liked management. That's where I gravitated towards. So as I graduated and I was looking for jobs, I applied to several different jobs that would give me leadership opportunities, like a leadership development program. And so while I was in college, I worked for a pharmaceutical company. I really liked the medical device industry. I just thought that was cool. I worked for Johnson & Johnson in their medical device field. And then after I graduated, I got a position with Nestle working in their management training program. And so I worked there for 3 years. But then as I got experience there and was able to lead a production line of 60 different people who were all older than me, I was their boss. And now here's this young college kid coming to try to tell them what to do. And great people, love the people. I just felt like I could do more with the skills and the interests that I had. And so I was talking to my father-in-law. He owned a Zerorez franchise in Jacksonville. He started up in 2004. And this was 2017, 2018, we were talking, and the opportunity to come to Orlando and open up a Zerorez franchise here presented itself. And I just thought to be your own business owner I thought it was just all rose-colored glasses, right?
Right. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy, yeah. He would share with me his financials, say, "Look, this is how much we made, and this is our net profit." I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing." Didn't realize you use all your net profit to pay off your debts and all the other things, but I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." So we started talking, and I left Nestle back in 2019 to start Zerorez in Orlando, and it just was me in a truck. Right.
Yeah.
So he was doing the marketing and the finance and things like that, and I was all operations. So we bought a house and rented out the house to the franchise, and was able to help pay for the mortgage, which almost covered it. I actually had to rent out a part of my house as an Airbnb to help cover the rest of the mortgage, because when you starting off as a franchise owner, there's not a lot of money or cash flow to go around.
Right.
Whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes. And so, but like all good companies, we started out of my garage. And so it was me in a garage, and we were there for 2 years and slowly grew. And it's just been a fantastic ride. I really enjoyed and love the opportunity to lead a team. So I have 7 other technicians, 7 trucks that we own, and we're working to help please the people of Orlando and delight them, make them raving fans.
So it's one tech in a truck is all you need, right?
That's how I started.
Yeah.
One tech in a
that's
truck.
great.
Mm-hmm.
And so your teams are all single-man teams.
Yes.
Interesting. Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about like developing that team. I mean, growing a team is difficult sometimes, and obviously you need to have the work to expand. But then when you expand, you got to have the equipment, and you got to have, the people and training them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What's been your process like when you're trying to find the right person, the right employee that could be, because they're representing you by themselves in a truck.
Yep.
They got to be the best, right? And then getting them trained up and even managing them, because you don't see them a whole lot during the day.
Yeah. I mean, I see them in the morning. They come in. We do a morning meeting every day, 7:30 in the morning. We talk about what's going on out in the field. What are they seeing, training, things like that. And then after that, I don't see them the rest of the day. And so I have found that when I hire based on your character, not on experience. My best technicians have never cleaned carpets before. They are the ones who have the values and the morals that align with how I want to build this company, how I want to present Zerorez to my neighbors and my friends. And so I bring those people in who I feel like have the right characteristics. Obviously, they have to work hard. Trust is paramount above everything else. I have to be able to trust them because they're in the homes by themselves, right? They're in closets, they're in bedrooms. Often the customer is not even aware of what they're doing besides, they think they're cleaning the carpets. And so they have to be 100% trustworthy. And so the customer has to trust them. I have to trust them. And ultimately, they have to trust me as an employer to provide work for them. Like you said, it's I can't just go hire 10 people if I only have jobs for one. And so it's a balance of, am I going to do the work? And kind of how I grew was I would do some of the work and kind of set the stage. I had the experience, and then as it got too busy for me and I wanted to work on the business, not in the business. I'm sure you've heard that before. We want to work on the business, not in the business. I've given more opportunities for these technicians to show themselves. And I started off with a technician part-time. It was me full-time and him part-time because I couldn't afford to pay him full-time.
Yep.
And I would work on the business and help get new customers. My goal, and I still feel like it's my goal and my purpose, is find and keep customers. That's my ultimate objective as a business. Is my job, my role is to find and keep customers. If I'm the face and the brand of the business, that's my job. And so that means if I'm going to keep customers, I have to train them the right way. I have to tell them, hey, this is the process we follow. We have a cleaning system that they follow, a 9-step cleaning system. We call it the basic 9 commandments of Zerorez. And I guarantee them, if they follow that system, they will be successful.
Right.
From a customer review standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from being able to provide for their family, and just overall as a business grows, and giving them that process and auditing that process. So I'll ride along with them. In the training process is I bring them in for a day and we'll ride together. And this is because I want to be a good fit for them, right? We have a great culture at our company, and when they come in, I want them to be a good experience for them. It's to be good for them, and they have to be good for us. So it's a two-way interview. And I tell them that when I do the initial interview. I said, look, when you come in and do this ride along, I'll pay you for your time, but make sure that this is something that you want to do, because carpet cleaning is not super luxurious. You're not making dirty holes in walls pretty again, right? You're like you're sniffing carpet of this dog. You're like, man, that stinks real bad, and it's just gross, dirty work, and it's hard work because you're pulling hoses, and then mentally it can be challenging because you got to deal with customers who may have expectations that are a little bit higher than what we can give. So we have to manage those and be able to help them, the technician, provide that value for the customer.
So your technicians aren't just techs; they also do some sales too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we call them sales techs. So they're carpet cleaning technicians, but in the home, it's their job to help the customer help meet their needs. So if they have a party coming up, for example, and they say, hey, I want this couch cleaned for this party, but you have an area rug that's filthy as well, a lot of times the customers are just search upholstery cleaning, and we pop up and we go in. But if we're really trying to meet the need of the customer, hey, you have a party coming up, you want it to look good. We want our technicians to be able to explain the value to the customer and say, look, while we're here, I would love to clean your rug for you because it's going to make a big difference in how it smells and how it looks. You got a dog, there's some dog accidents, we can take care of those. And so they're in the home, they're selling.
Yeah.
So when they're selling, are they actually quoting prices and stuff? So do they need to call the home office to upsell?
No, we'll come back to upsell. That's a bad word in my vocabulary.
Is it? Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we have a price list, and we have our CRM. You can go in and you select, hey, upholstery cleaning, this is a chair, this is how much it costs. You can show the customer. But they usually stick to that, so we provide the prices for them. I mean, everything's pretty standard. Room of carpet standard. The square footage of the tile, we just price it by the square foot. Nice. And so there's not a lot of difference in, like, if I go to a house in a high-end neighborhood, it's going to cost the same to clean that carpet as it is in a low-income housing. It's just we provide the work, and the customer decides whether it's good for them.
So the pH water, do you have a special word, special name you call your water?
We call it ZR water.
ZR water.
ZR water. Mm-hmm.
Does it dry faster? Because when my wife will do some spot cleaning herself, it could take 30 minutes or more, an hour to dry. Does your water dry any faster? Yeah,
so if you think about water, when it comes from the city, it's full of minerals. It's full of the calcium and all this other stuff. So in order to run it through our water machine, our electrolysis process.
So you make your own water?
Correct, essentially. So we take the water and we filter it, get some of those impurities, and then we soften it. So we get rid of all of the minerals, because those are heavy. Those heavy minerals in there is going to basically cling to that carpet. So we get it down to zero hardness. So there's actually it's perfectly just pure water. And then we increase the pH. And so when you do that, it kind of sounds like, imagine it being a lighter water, like doesn't weigh as much because it doesn't have those impurities in it. And that helps it dry faster. So it will release from the carpet faster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're actually making your own water from your garage?
That's right. And we carry it with us on our van. And that's kind of what sets us apart as well. A lot of times we go into home or into apartment complexes and people are like, oh, well, the last company couldn't do it because they needed a water hookup. I'm like, well, that's not a problem because we have enough water to clean the entire apartment complex.
Right.
We carry it with us on our van, which puts wear and tear on the van, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, boy, the water's heavy.
10,000, about 9,000 pound van as we're driving around. So it's a big thing.
Water is heavy.
8 pounds a gallon.
8 pounds a gallon.
But if you don't mind, can I go back to your upsell word?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
On sale. So I just want, Bill, if you're a customer and I talked to you about cleaning your couch and that's what you scheduled, and then I ask you about your rug and you say, yeah, go ahead, clean the rug. And then I turn around and tell my office, hey, I just upsold Bill on this rug. How do you feel?
I would feel like I just got sold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of business we run. But the verbiage is so important, and the mindset of my technicians is such that we want to help you. And it's a very different conversation if I'm walking out to my truck and calling my manager saying I'm going to be a little bit behind because Bill added on an additional area rug that was going to be more valuable.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that?
Yeah, no, it's the same thing, just better terminology.
Yeah, it may be semantics, but when you're upsold, no one wants to be upsold.
No.
But when we add value to you, oh yes, it is, because it's an exchange. It's additional value that we're providing in exchange for money.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
So as a franchise owner, there's got to be some good and some bad. Obviously, they come in with a system. We're franchise founders, so we get what we provide. But as somebody on the other side of the table, right? Mm-hmm. Give me some pros, and we'll talk about some cons. What are some things that you've learned? Some things that you're glad you have the franchise there for?
Yeah.
And then maybe some things that you can improve on.
Yeah. So the franchise is an awesome support system. So it provides basically a lot of the stuff I don't want to do. The branding, the marketing, the systems, the CRM, all that stuff. The call center is something that they can provide for me so I can focus on my customers, right? My franchise is maybe set up a little bit differently, but they provide content for us. So the logos, and they have trademarked phrases and things like that set us apart. So they've invented a specific carpet cleaning tool. We call it a wand, a ZR wand, and that has a patent. And I've been to the corporate office out in Utah and seen the patent on the wall. And it's really awesome to say, hey, we're different than Joe Blow down the street who's bringing a portable in the back of his Honda Civic, because we have an actual patented process, right? The process is patented, the wand is patented, the water is patented, and all this helps set us apart from the guys on the side of the street that you see the signs on the road say, hey, carpet cleaning for $20 a room.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, is it really that much? But
Right.
so those systems, and it takes a lot of the mind clutter out of it, and it just makes it easy to know how to proceed. And then also with the franchise, you have the support system of, I think, 80 other franchise owners in 80 other locations for Zerorez. So the more locations there, the more experience that you have. And I can call up Lee Hamilton over in Tampa and say, hey, Lee, how do you do this? I ran into this. Or I'll talk to Sierra and John Phelps over in Treasure Coast, over in Vero Beach. Say, what are you doing in this? How is your marketing working? Or I can talk to the guys in Jacksonville and be like,
yeah, we found a really similar situation with our franchise owners at Hole in the Wall. The same thing. They call and they talk to each other. They get best practices. They get heads ups on how to do things, what's on sale this week at the places we shop.
Mm-hmm. And they really support each other. We have a great support network here at Hole in the Wall, but I didn't realize that, there are times they go to each other before they even go to us. We have a group chat with the entire company and all the owners. And so whenever someone's got a problem, hey, like yesterday, one of the guys was like, hey, how do you estimate this? He told the scenario. And then like 4 or 5 owners just tell them, here's what we do with that.
Here's what we do.
Or, Sherwin-Williams is having a sale, so we'll post, the flyer in the group chat or on our Facebook page.
Super valuable. Because you don't have time. If you're running a franchise, a Hole in the Wall franchise, and you're in a customer's homes, you don't have time to go research all that or think about that. You're like, hey, I just want to get my job done. Hopefully I get home for dinner today, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's awesome network to be able to have a franchise to collaborate with.
Yeah. We say it a lot, but you're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. right? So you have a good support network. And then what we didn't realize is how valuable the other owners are going to be to each other. So it was a great
because no one person has all the answers.
Yep.
And that's been one of the surprises for us is the caliber of people that have bought into Hole in the Wall.
Yes.
I told James last week, I think I'm the dumbest person in my orbit. I think like everybody else is smarter than me. That's the way these people feel that are coming in.
And that's exactly how I felt when I first started going. So at Zerorez, we have an annual conference, a leadership development conference, and then 6 months later we have an owners conference. And I'm thinking to myself, leaving corporate America, right? Leaving this, I'm dealing with the corporate people, and I feel like they're pretty smart. But now coming in, I'm like, there are so many smart people. And I'm like, there's no way that these people are that smart and talented that are going to get into something that's not going to succeed.
Yeah.
So I find that like the people at Zerorez are just brilliant, and I love being part of that group.
Well, and our owners are brilliant. I mean, we got guys that are doctors. They hold patents for, certain things. They work for military contractor. They got, we just signed a CPA who was in one of the big four.
Yeah.
She's coming on board. And IT professionals and just business owners.
Yeah, and just market managers.
Yeah.
One or two guys marketed, both of them from Dallas, were like in charge of the entire Dallas area for major corporations.
Yeah. So it's neat because we thought we'd find guys just handymen, guys that want to work in the truck, right? Just,
And then teach them a system.
And then teach them a system. But now
that's not what we found.
We found that people they want out of the corporate world.
Yep. You find people who want to make something for themselves and use their talents to the best of their abilities. And I feel like owning your business, you can really spend your time on what is important to you and providing value directly for the business. I mean, for yourself.
Right.
And you reap the benefits.
Exactly.
So another phenomenon that we have seen with people coming out of corporate America is corporate America is really kind of siloed. You're in marketing, or you're in R&D, or you're in, human resources, or, you do one narrow band of what that entire company does. And that's kind of, I think, a refreshing, sometimes scary shift for people coming out of corporate America going into entrepreneurship, because as an entrepreneur, as you well know, you're touching each of these aspects of the business almost daily.
Yeah, and I'm sure those people have skills in other areas. I mean, even if a marketer knows marketing, that's what they have a job at, but they may be passionate about operations and may have really good job ideas on operations, but in a big company, they can't implement those ideas. Where as a franchise owner, a Hole in the Wall, or whoever, they're going to be able to use the full capacity that they have to make it the business successful.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you're driving around, as a technician, as an owner, you got a lot of windshield time. What do you do in your spare time? What's your leisurely? How do you give your brain a break, or do you?
This must be a softball question. Listen to Hole in the Wall podcast, of course.
I know. So stop it.
No, but seriously, I call it Windshield University, right? There's so much. I mean, I track my time pretty religiously, and every minute of my working day, I know exactly what I'm spending my time on. And when I was in a truck doing jobs every day, it was about 4 hours driving a day. And so I am like, that's so much time.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 hours times 6 days a week, like 24 hours, that's a part-time job just driving. So I listen to podcasts. I listen to books, a lot of audiobooks, a lot of leadership development books, a lot of business books, and it really just lets me just focus on, hey, what am I doing in my business? How can I apply this to my business? It's good to listen to those things, but if you don't apply them, it's just brain candy.
Yeah.
But when you learn how to apply them into your business and say, oh, let me try that. Let me try that marketing tactic, or let me try this business plan or business template or whatever. It definitely helps.
Well, I mean, you got to feed your brain, right? I mean, there's a lot of activity going on in our heads, and the same thing over and over again can get monotonous. The struggles of a business can be tedious, but you're always trying to perfect what we already have, and how can we be better? It's funny because I took a Franklin Covey course years ago, and it was like, all right, so you're going to plan out your time, prioritize it, ABC 1, 2, 3, based on it. And they always made sure they included, what's your future goal? Like, hey, I work in operations at a warehouse, and these are my times. I got these meetings, I got these projects, these are my deadlines. But then they always added like the D category, like, what's your future goal? I like barbecue. Right? I like to make barbecues. Like, maybe I wanted to open a barbecue restaurant one day. So in my spare time, in my downtime, in my in-between times, I would go and potentially watch YouTube University, see what's out there, listen to podcasts, go figure out what the best sources are for things. So I'm actually building my skill set while working at my existing job, and they make sure that part of the whole Franklin Covey thing is you do that every day. Like, say you want to be a botanist, so that means you're going to go study plants, in your spare time when you're sitting around watching TV at night. If you do that, you're on the internet, looking at things. And
I've heard this concept years ago, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. I'm like you, Tanner. I like to listen to podcasts, but I listen to them for two different reasons. Sometimes I want information. How do I do this thing? How are other people doing this thing? The other reason I listen to is for inspiration, because someone told me years ago, an inspired person is a dangerous thing. You can, one really inspired person can move mountains. Yeah. So sometimes I'm just looking for that. This is what somebody's done, and I watch and I get inspired by that, and I think, I want to give that a try.
Yeah, and I feel like you change based on where you are in your life. It kind of changes your perspective. So early on, I listened to a lot of business podcasts, but now I'm listening to a lot of leadership podcasts that how can I help my manager develop into the leader I want him to be? How can I don't want to say manage him, but how can I lead him to where I need him to go? And so, even at relationships, right? So if I want to have a better relationship with my wife or my kids, I'm going to listen to a parenting podcast while I do it, or a marriage podcast, or a book that helps me in all aspects of my life, because I don't want to be just work. I have to be well-rounded and individual.
But you strike me as someone who is.
Yeah. Thank you. Must be all those podcasts.
Like you're pretty intentional about it.
Yeah, I learned a little bit ago that you have to take care of yourself, mentally, spiritually, physically. Just take care of yourself, because we want to be the best boss. We want to be the best husband, the best father. We want to be the best for all the people in our world. And a lot of times we're just go, go, go. We are so focused on the prize, make the money. And then we let things lapse. We skip meals, or we eat the bad stuff, or we maybe drink, or we do things that are just like not doing good things for our body. And then we don't take care of our brain. We don't we don't feed ourselves. But what happens when you start doing these things, you start getting yourself centered, whatever that is for you, and you start taking care of yourself a little bit, eating better, working out, just sleeping, for crying out loud. That's a huge one. And then you just have your mental game dialed in. You become a better husband, you become a better father, and you become a better business owner, right? Yeah. So it's a win-win-win situation for you.
And Stephen Covey calls it sharpening the saw.
Yeah.
Right? You got to sharpen the saw. And I've found with the people who I've worked with, who are on my team, if they are not progressing towards something, not trying to develop themselves outside of work, it affects them at work. And
that's an interesting observation.
And I have a specific experience. There's one of my coworkers. He was kind of going through a hard time, and you just tell he's not motivated to really perform. And he was going through the motions. He was getting the jobs done. He was doing it, but he's like, you just tell something was up. And then he found something outside of work that motivated him and that will push him. And his whole attitude and demeanor changed at work. It was amazing. And then he's like performing super well at work, like way better than he was. I'm like, what changed? Like, I got into this, and I'm growing in this other area outside of work, which in turn is going to affect him at work, which is just awesome to see.
Yeah. That development is key, because are any of your employees women, or are they all men?
All my technicians are men, but we have I got some office staff.
So we have a couple females in the field, but most of our technicians are male, and they're young guys. They're probably early to mid 20s. I got a couple that are a little older, but not many. And we have a direct impact on who they are in their development. We get to teach them valuable lessons. I disciplined a guy once, and he's like, you know what? Thank you. I didn't realize I was doing that. I'm a better guy because I just got my hand slapped, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I've actually fired a guy once, and then he a year later, I bumped into him. He said, the best thing ever happened to me was getting fired. Because I thought that I was the king of the world, and I realized I was really nothing, and it really humbled me. Yeah. And so but developing them. We had a gentleman work for us, his girlfriend got pregnant, and it's Mother's Day, and I'm like, what are you going to get her for Mother's Day? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, she's a mom. What should I do? I said, go buy her some card. Go buy her a card. Buy her some flowers. Yep. I even helped. I actually ChatGPT'd up a nice little thing right in the card for him. Just make her feel special today.
Better living through AI.
Yeah.
I got guys that don't have bank accounts. It's like, what are you doing? They don't know what a budget is. So we have a chance to, as Uncle Bill and Uncle James, kind of come alongside of them and help develop them into young men, and just to kind of this is what it's like to be an adult in this world. And
how to adult is
critical skill.
They're young kids, and I mean, I say young kids. I mean, same with my team. I mean, the average age is under 30. They're probably 20, 25 is the average age, and a lot of them have never budgeted. They don't even know what a 401k is or an IRA or anything like that. And so, in our morning meetings, it's not just sales training meetings, or it's, hey, let's have a finance Friday and talk about what does it mean. Is debt good? Is debt bad? What kind of debt is good? And so it helps them develop outside of the business, because if they're going to be successful outside of the business, if they're not worrying about paying their bills and paying their rent, they can focus on their job and do better at their job as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, financial planning is something that I think that this world is lacking. I sucked at it when I was young. My parents, God bless them, they just didn't teach anything.
Financial education is just
responsibility.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was actually a pastor at my church once. Like, listen, do 70, 20, 10. Like, what are you talking about? Live on 70% of your income. What do you mean? I make $100. I'm going to spend $100. No, you live on 70%. Take 20% for your future savings for the O's of the world. Take 10%, throw it in some sort of retirement plan or whatever you're doing. And had I started doing that when I was much, much younger, I'd be set, right? And so instead, I spent every dollar, got into debt. Now you got, credit cards, and so now you make less than you are actually spending, and it's a trap that this world's in.
I know.
So I don't know how we can necessarily stop it from happening, but if we can at least educate the young guys and gals that we have with us.
Just one-on-one. I mean, I had a guy who just left. He worked for me for 2 years, fantastic technician. And he's like, Tanner, I'm in these $1 million homes cleaning the carpets, and I realize I'm not going to get to where I want to be if I'm here. And I appreciate what you've done for me. And he ended up leaving. Now he's selling real estate, and he had $13,000 of credit card debt and paying 23% interest. I'm like, ooh, stop now. Like, let's get you out of debt. Let's come with a plan. And he was able to do it by the time he left. And it was just really meaningful to be able to, hey, this is take him from here to where he is now.
Yeah, the team development, that's key, because we hold everybody with an open hand here. They can come and go, but we want them to leave better than they were.
Here. Yeah.
And I think something that we don't find a lot that's difficult nowadays is holding people accountable. Like, we feel like we're going to punish them, but most of the great employees appreciate being held accountable. And I've fired or let go dozens of people over the last 6 years, and not one has ever been surprised about being let go. And I kind of find that as a badge of honor. Like, no one's surprised because they know what the expectation is. They know that they're not meeting the expectation.
Right.
I train them on what my expectation is for them, and they know if they don't meet it, it's going to be end of employment. And so they appreciate that, and the good team members will stick with you longer when you hold everyone accountable.
Yeah, because they're not pulling all the weight by themselves.
Yeah,
I agree with that completely.
A little bit of a shift. I'm wondering where you headed with this thing in the next couple of years. What's the future look like?
So I'll answer that question by going back to where I started. If I were to do it differently, I think I would have given my part-time employee more work, and which would allow me to work on the business more. And I think that's the goal. One thing that motivates me is to provide opportunities for people to work. And that I really find a lot of joy and satisfaction in bringing these young guys in and developing, or even older people maybe have been going through a hard time, and bringing them in and helping them get back on their feet. And the bigger I grow my organization, the more opportunities I can give to other people to provide for their family in an environment that is good, that is wholesome, that we're doing a good work for these people. And so building my team up to where I can spend more time on either growing the business or growing another business or spending it with my kids. My kids are not going to stay young forever. And everyone older is like, oh, you better enjoy it while you can. I'm like, well, I don't know if I enjoy that. Woke up at 3 a.m. But we try and spending quality time where, I mean, I volunteer a lot in my church and spend a lot of time. Next week, I'm taking 12 boys down to the Keys for a high adventure. I think that'll be a good time, and being able to do that
great.
and still have my business run is just where I want to be. Is I want to be a mentor to those people who can grow the business.
Right. That's great. When we talked about the pros of franchising, we talked about the cool stuff that you get when you're working as as an owner in a franchise. Are there anything that nothing bad, but like things that you wish would change or things that you think that you could add to the system that you bring to the table, things that the franchise could be better at? And I ask because as an owner of a franchise, I want to make sure that we're providing a value for our owners.
Yeah, sure.
I would just say listen to the other owners. They're out in the field every day. They are experiencing the things that you guys went through when you had your business before it became a franchise. Listen to them and get their feedback on how to better the whole system, the whole franchise system as a whole, because they have a lot of good ideas. And then when you listen to them, either tell them why you're going to not go forward with that, or or be grateful for them and say, thank you for that advice. This is how we're going to implement it. So listening to the franchise owners who are in the trenches every single day, I think has a big morale impact on the franchise owners. But also there's so much gold that these people are experiencing every day, whether it's marketing or call center or however it is, operations, estimating, whatever it is. And just, there are good ideas that a lot of people have. I mean, we talked about they're brilliant franchise owners, the ones who come in, the brilliant owners. So use that brilliance to help everyone.
Yeah, very good. Well, listen, if someone wants to talk to you, what are your territories? Where you cover? How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, so Zerorez Orlando, we go from Leesburg all the way down to Point Siena. So all of Lake County, Orange County, Osceola County, Seminole County, and Brevard County. We go all the way to the beach, to Palm Bay.
Wow.
So it's a big territory.
It is.
Yeah, we have those 5 counties, and the franchise system, I mean, is all over. So if you live in Daytona Beach, there's a franchise there. Jacksonville, Volusia, Fort Lauderdale. There's the Zerorez system in the water is still applicable. Is still going to be available to most places. But me in Orlando, just anywhere in Central Florida, we'll be happy to serve you.
And how do they get hold of you?
Then call our office, 407-232-9188, or just go online to orlandozerorez.com. That's the best way you can book online there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I really appreciate you bringing me in and sharing your experiences with me as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks for taking the time and coming in and doing a podcast with us.
It's fun to be
Great
here.
story. Always enjoy visiting with you.
Yeah, Tanner, thanks for being here, friend.
Well, thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.